My project is about corporate responsibility and open data. I am trying to answer how can open data impact corporate social responsibility metrics and reporting. I want to start by defining what is known as corporate social responsibility. The Harvard Kennedy School CSR initiative states that the definition should include not only what companies do with their profits, but also how they make them. Corporate responsibility should be defined in terms of a company's effort to act responsibly in conducting their business. However, many see these efforts as at best exercises in public relations and at worst just smoke screen for irresponsible behavior. As well, there remains debate whether if corporate responsibility is purely a philanthropic effort linked to charity. However, I believe that corporate responsibility should go beyond philanthropic and address how companies manage their economic, social, and environmental impact on society. The problem is that today, the disclosure of corporate responsibility metrics is largely unregulated. As well, there is a rise in rating and corporate reporting systems. There are approximately between 5,000 and 6,000 reporting systems. As well, the studied companies are the primary source of data to evaluate them. In addition to a largely unregulated mechanism for companies to report their impact on society, companies are often engaged in labor abuses in developing countries, aggressive tax avoidance, lobbying and political donations, and criminal activity involving fraud and corruption, money laundering, and organized crime. Even though the private sector is often seen as a driver of exclusion, it is important to acknowledge that companies have a great potential to address poverty through fair trade, fair supply chain processes, and inclusive business practices. It is also important to acknowledge that companies' operations link to the world's poorest, particularly within the food and agricultural sectors, which reached over 1 billion workers in 2009. So imagine if we had a way to know about the sustainability performance of the companies who make the products and offer the services we choose. There has been a sharp escalation in the social roles companies are expected to play, and more than before, companies are facing new demands to engage in public-private partnerships and are under growing pressure to be accountable not only to their shareholders, but also to their stakeholders, including consumers, employees, suppliers, local communities, policymakers, and society at large. The idea I'm working on is to develop a platform or an app to inform the sustainability performance of the companies that make the products and services we choose to buy. I'm thinking in piloting one industry, for example, the garment industry, in one country, for example, the United States or the United Kingdom, where information is more open and more accessible. In what has to do with my inspirational research, I found out that today there are serious efforts to make reporting more aligned and comparable. To put it in words of Joel Gurin, author of the upcoming book Open Data Now, today we're living in a see-through society with new rules that companies will need to follow. Consumers and investors are increasingly looking to buy from and invest in companies that operate sustainably and that have data to prove so. Open Corporates is an effort that registers all kinds of data and corporate networks on more than 60 million companies worldwide. Their goal is for each company in the world to have an URL. They are also registering data on corporate networks. That means all companies that are directly or indirectly related to a single company, like in this case, in this example, the Pearson PLC. The Global Reporting Initiative has become the global reporting standard with more than 5,000 companies adhering to its reporting guidelines. Its themes include economic, environmental, labor practices, human rights, society, and products. Another inspiration is Good Corps. And as we learned last class, Good Corps partners with brands and organizations to help them transform the values at the core of their identity into actionable solutions that improve both their business and the world. Finally, in the UK, there is an effort to open data on beneficial ownership. And this effort is with the objective to publish the identity of the true owners of corporate entities that often are hidden behind shell companies. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward for your feedback.